How good is the nearly 60-year-old Canon FL 28mm 3.5 lens? Keep watching this edition of Jules Voto's Photo Focus for my short review to find out. I shot this lens on my Nikon Z8 using the inexpensive Fotasy FD to NZ adapter. First, let's look at the specs on this lens. It has 7 elements in 7 groups, 6 aperture blades, full f-stops from 3.5 to 16. The minimum focus is 1.5 feet or zero point 0.4 meters. It weighs 8.47 ounces or 240 grams, and it takes 58 millimeter filters. Over the last few years, I've come to favor a 28 millimeter lens for street photography. One of the reasons is the great depth of field. When set to focus at 10 feet at f8, everything is acceptably sharp from about 5 feet to infinity. And set to 7 feet at f11, the depth of field extends from less than 4 feet to infinity. On the day I went out to test this lens, it had rained throughout the night, and the rain stopped, but it wasn't a very nice day. It was kind of damp, slight mist occasionally, but I just wanted to, give this lens a shot, and I didn't have a shade for it, and of course it dates from 1966, so this lens is not multi-coated. A lot of these images were shot at f8 or f11 and 5.6. When I shot at a wider aperture, I will let you know. It has an old-time look to it. It's not real sharp. It's also kind of low in contrast. Of course, the lighting conditions had a lot to do with it. It was very flat lighting, and the sky was very bright in contrast to the buildings and the trees and so forth. Now, normally when I do something like this, when I do this street photography, I'm hoping to get some people, but there was very few people out and it just didn't work out. So what you're going to see here are buildings and flowers and a few other things. And these blossom trees are in full bloom right now. So I focused on them and this red church door in the background. I kind of like this shot with the curve of the walkway leading to the door. But like I said, the images are overall kind of soft, low in contrast. But when I didn't include the sky in the shot, the saturation picked up and the contrast picked up a little bit, as is the case with those flowers. Again, here's another shot of the church building with this really beautiful tree. But it really doesn't pop enough for me. Now, would a more modern lens render this scene with a little more contrast, with a little more pop of color? Not sure. So I focused on this tree at 5.6, and we're going to see this zoomed in a little bit, and it's got some sharpness, but it really doesn't do it for me. So then just walking around, I noticed these rusty metal steps, so I took a shot at f8, and I guess it's okay, but so I decided to stop down to f11. It sharpens up a little bit. I really wanted to show the rust. And here's a shot zoomed in, same shot zoomed in, and you really don't get the feel of that rust enough, in my opinion. Now, this shot here, I kind of like it compositionally a little bit. I focused on the tree on the left. This is at f11. Then I shot one at 5.6. The cinder block's a little sharper at f11. The tree doesn't look much sharper to me. I guess it's okay. Now, in this here, I shot 3 shots from the same spot. This first one is at 5.6. Focus was on the tree. Then I went to f8. And then finally, in the last shot, I'm at f11. And, you see the gain in depth of field. The tree, to me, looks pretty much the same level of sharpness in each of the 3 images. So here's a shot at f8. Again, it just looks soft to me. I mean, again, there is that sky, which is lower in contrast. I don't think this lens is as sharp as the Minolta. I have the Minolta 28mm 3.5, which I did a video on. I also did one on Nikon's 28mm 3.5. I think that is sharper. But this is a decent shot. The focus was on the sign, and I was set at f8, but that sign just isn't razor sharp. For something like this, I like maximum sharpness. Now, for the flowers, I think it worked out okay. This is at f8. And I use the tilt screen on the Z8 for this. I held the camera real low and I focused on the group of tulips on the right. And I guess it's okay. It's not real sharp. Now, this house was kind of interesting. It was had signs on there to say keep out. I thought this would be a good test of sharpness. And these were both at f8, both that first shot and this one. And it just doesn't show the weathered paint as much as I would have liked. Now, I like this one. This was at f11, had good sharpness, decent contrast here. And here's one wide open. And my focus was on those blue flowers in the foreground there and the stone. And I kind of liked the way the lens rendered this. And here we are zoomed in a little bit. So I think this lens is decently sharp at 3.5. I don't think it gets way much sharper as you stop down. It definitely does get sharper. This is at 3.5 also. Focus was on the yellow net. And here we're at 3.5 on the tennis only sign. And you will see in the next shot at f8, it does sharpen up. And of course, you get additional depth of field. So my conclusion with this lens is a decent lens. It definitely looks its age. The focus is a little stiff. Again, that goes to the age. It probably could use some relubrication. And this house here was at 5.6. Then we're going to see one kind of zoomed in. And then I also shot at f4. You'll see that coming up. And it's not a huge difference. I think they're very similar with 5.6 and f4. And unfortunately, there were no people out that day. I had no people to photograph. I think this lens might do well with people, so I have to give it a shot. But it is definitely, as I said before, I think it shows its age. Some people like that look. I do for certain things. I think it works for certain things. So it's a very specialized lens, in my opinion. And these last few shots here, the close-up of the clock was at f8, and the last one is at 3.5, and I like the 3.5 shot better because of the limited depth of field. It kind of throws that building in the background out of focus a little more. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions or comments on this video, please leave them in the comments below. I always try to respond to all questions and comments. I publish a new video every Monday and Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon.